So ground systems is our next panel, and in aviation that of course means airports. And we have with us hopefully the Chief Executive Officer of Hamburg Airport, Michael Eggenschwiler, and Samantha Bricker, the Chief Environmental and Sustainability Officers of Los Angeles World Airports. I hope you can hear me both.
Yes.
Very good. Hello, good. Morning probably more to Los Angeles. For an airport, of course, the emissions that are generated on the ground are probably to reduce them. You're trying to cut them. Samantha, tell me, what are the main sources for emissions at your airport, and what measures are you taking to reduce them?
So the main source of emissions at our airport are aircraft, obviously, and so there's quite a few efforts underway to address that issue. The first issue that we're trying to deal with is obviously sustainable aviation fuel. That's an up-and-coming source that we think will really help to reduce aircraft emissions. We have some challenges in terms of infrastructure and how to get sustainable aviation fuel to the airport, whether it be pipeline or trucking. Getting the quantity we need is also a challenge, and working with both airlines and distributors. So that is something that is very high on our to-do list, and something that we think is very important for the future. The other thing we are doing is really encouraging electric ground support equipment. That's a really big initiative at our airport. We're actually implementing a incentive program for our partners to purchase electric GSE. We're doing an electric GSE study to look at expanding that infrastructure and really encourage airlines and our partners to purchase electric GSE. And lastly, we're electrifying all of our gates. So that's a really big impact as well, is making sure that planes are not idling as they're waiting. And so all of our passenger gates are now electrified, and we're looking at electrifying all of our parking positions as well as cargo. Vehicle emissions is obviously a big issue at our airport. We have 89 million passengers last year. Many of them are coming by single occupancy vehicle. We do not yet have a mass transit link to LAX, which is kind of unbelievable for such a major airport. So we are actually in the process of building an automated people mover. It's a $2 billion project, design, build, finance, operate, maintain, and it is scheduled to open in 2024. And we're really hoping that will be a link to our mass transit system. It'll connect to our light rail lines, and it'll also be at the source of a major bus hub. And so we feel that bringing that train system in will really help to reduce the dependence on single occupancy vehicles. That in turn will reduce emissions, especially greenhouse gas. So those are a few of the things we're doing at LAX. We have a lot of work to do, but we are really planning for the future.
So if we talk about the future of ground transport systems at your airport, Michael, Samantha mentioned people movers. Will we have automated plane movers at the airport in the future, where the actual passenger plane is pulled to the runway and then only starting its kerosene or whatever engines they may have by then?
Well, that may be an option for the future. I think in the very near future, we are obviously looking at a lot of options of replacing the traditional fueling of these vehicles. We started many years ago to replace our vehicles in the way they're propelled, we have synthetic diesel, for instance, biosynthetic. We've changed a lot of vehicles to electric, and we've got some vehicles even with hydrogen, which are operated. So we started that early, and we've got about 80% of our service vehicles today are either with gas, natural gas, with electrical power, or with a synthetic diesel. So there I think we started early, and that's the way we'll continue. And looking at the self-guided vehicles, I think that's probably going to take some time. We've always had people saying you can do it now, and technically that may be true. But I think if you look at an airport, you really got to be sure that these vehicles will be moving safe, and that the system is actually failure-proof. And that's probably still a step away. So at the moment, we're looking into making sure we have as little emission as possible. We're also looking at replacing our towing vehicles for luggage to be used with a hydrogen engine in the future, because the current engine system we have is not being built anymore. And so there, we hope to be one of the first airports to actually have hydrogen driven vehicles pulling the luggage of our passengers, and that will be really CO2 free. So we're trying to be ahead of others, and it's still part of research what we're doing.
And of course, so I will ask you some very brief questions in the end. Basically, I'm going to ask you to finish my sentence. Samantha, in 2025, the most noteworthy difference between a passenger journey at the airport today and then will be what? You want 10 more?
I think 2025 is coming up quickly. I think one of the main differences will be the expectation for the passenger experience. You know, a lot changes in terms of technology and how and what passengers really expect. And while it doesn't pertain directly to ground transportation, I think we're going to see technology play a real role in the passenger experience. I know that as part of our modernization, we're really looking at everything from biometric to touchless, you know, from every step of the passenger journey. So that starts with ground transportation, looking at apps that will provide options for passengers to get to the airport, looking at, again, using that automated people mover, which is all electric, to get to the airport. And then going through the screening process, everything we're moving towards now is, you know, automated baggage check-in, you know, automated ordering at your concessions, you know, really doing everything that we can to advance technology. So I really think even in 5 short years, we're going to see a big difference in the passenger journey, mostly, you know, aided by advances in technology.
I'd like to go with a shorter time frame, because then I'll be around to check on you if these things actually did fall into place. I thank you very much. Time is up for this panel. Samantha Bricker from Los Angeles World Airports and Michael Eggenschwiler from Hamburg Airport. We're taking a very short, tiny break, and we'll be right back with the next and final panel.